Oh, hey everybody, Bob here. Uncle Bob today.
Uncle Bob?
Yes, that's right, Uncle Bob here, going to talk about Terminator Dark Fate. Strap in for this one, it's going to take a minute.
On July 3rd, 1991, exactly 1 month before I turned 8 years old, my all-time favorite movie, Terminator 2, was released in theaters. I specifically remember my father, who was a movie theater projectionist at the time, we were riding in the car. He was driving, and myself and my younger brother Derek were sitting in the back seat, and my dad turns to us and says, "Hey, do you guys want to go see Terminator 2 today?" Now, I had never seen Terminator 1, and my brother, who's a few years younger than me, so he was not even 5 years old, he definitely had never seen Terminator. And at this point, I really don't remember if I'd even seen any previews or commercials for Terminator 2 at that time. Just the name, Terminator, sounded badass, and we were stoked. So that afternoon, before it opened, we went to see the movie, just the three of us, my father, my brother, and I, watched Terminator 2 Judgment Day the afternoon before the movie opened. And I was blown away by Terminator 2. And I've been trying to get that feeling back of a Terminator movie ever since. I went home right after we had seen Terminator 2 that day and watched Terminator 1, and that was the first and only time I've ever seen Terminator 1 until last weekend. I actually tried to record this review a week ago, and I had some audio issues, so I'm recording it again. But the day that I recorded that last Sunday, I had watched Terminator 1 for the first time since. Terminator 1 is a different kind of movie altogether, and Terminator 2 is still my all-time favorite movie. It's by and large the best sequel ever made, in my opinion, to any film series, and it's also the greatest action movie ever made. So I have a deep love for Terminator 2. And a lot of it stems from that day that we went to see the movie. It's just such a huge movie-going memory for me. It's one of my first movie-going memories. It is my brother Derek's first movie-going memory. Both of us had seen movies in the theater before that point. But that was so much fun. It was so much so that I've been trying to I've been waiting for another Terminator movie to come along this whole time that would make me feel the way that I did about Terminator 2. Now, I don't think that that's ever going to happen, and with the box office returns on Terminator Dark Fate, I'm not sure that we're ever going to get another sequel anyway. But Terminator Dark Fate, which is the third in the series, if you're following the timeline that James Cameron has created, was awesome. I loved every second of it. Now, the movie's getting a lot of crap, especially online, from a lot of people who probably haven't seen it in the first place. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, because presumably, if you're watching this video, you've probably seen Terminator 1 and 2, or at the very least, you've seen Terminator 2, which kind of can stand alone as a story by, without having seen Terminator 1 anyway. I've seen Terminator 2 hundreds of times. I own 42 copies of the movie, spread out over every media format that it has. I love it. Terminator 1 is like a horror movie in comparison, which I love also, but for a different reason. So Terminator Dark Fate follows the plot line very similarly to what we got in Terminator 2. Basically, a Terminator is sent back in time from the future to, one is sent back to kill somebody, and another, a protector, is sent back as well. Now, in Terminator 1, we had Arnold Schwareznegger playing the T-800, and he was a bad guy, and he was trying to kill Linda Hamilton's character, Sarah Connor, because her son was going to give rise to the Resistance, John Connor, and that didn't work out. In the second film, Arnold Schwarzenegger comes back as a different T-800, playing a good guy. He's the protector to Robert Patrick's T-1000, who's there to now assassinate John Connor. That doesn't work out either. Now we've got Terminator Dark Fate, and it's the same idea. We have a Terminator, in this case it's a Rev 9 liquid metal style Terminator, similar but more advanced than the T-1000 was in Terminator 2, trying to assassinate a character named Danny. a girl who is part of the future resistance. In this case, it isn't a human that's sent back to protect her. It's not a Terminator either. It's a human who's been enhanced with kind of cybernetic parts. So the film follows the same kind of idea as in Terminator 2, where it's a cat and mouse kind of protection game, and they have to keep staying on the run. In this case, they meet up with Sarah Connor, who has been hunting Terminators for years. We find out in this movie that despite the fact that that Judgment Day, Skynet's Judgment Day, never happened, a different company kind of took its place and gave rise to the same ideas. So it would be like if, Microsoft and Apple, for example, and they're building these things, and then in one timeline, Microsoft just doesn't exist anymore. Well, Apple kept going on the rise. It's the same idea. Skynet didn't work out, but Legion is a new company that's doing the same kind of things, but at a more advanced level even. So we find out that Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton's character, has been hunting Terminators for the last 20-odd years because we find out in this film again that even though in Terminator 2 we only saw one Terminator, a T-1000, trying to assassinate John, it turns out that several Terminators had been sent back in time, and she has to keep trying to kill all those Terminators. So, onto Dark Fate itself. I thought the movie was badass. It's totally balls to the wall. It actually has more action than pretty much any of the other Terminator films, especially if we're talking about just the first two. James Cameron, who came back on board with this movie and had some story credits and produced it, he didn't direct or get the sole writing credit as he did in the first ones. He decided that he wanted to ignore all the other Terminator films that came after T2, and I think it works out way better that way, personally. The way more action than the other films. It brings back the R rating that we haven't had since Terminator 3, so it is an adult, brutally violent action film. Sci-fi action film, and I can find nothing to really complain about with this movie. Yes, it does feature a lot of the similarities of Terminator 2, but I can't really fault that or complain about that because Terminator 2 is my favorite movie of all time. So I can't really fault a movie for doing similar things to my all-time favorite movie and then hating it for doing so. That doesn't make any sense to me. But apparently it makes tons of sense to the internet, who are absolutely destroying this movie. Now, right now, it has a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb with 37,000 reviews, which is actually pretty good. I think Terminator 2 has like an 8, but, it wasn't going to get that high. But honestly, the movie is good. But I'll tell you some of the complaints. I actually have, somebody sent me this, somebody bitching about the movie, somebody who supposedly didn't even see it. They illegally downloaded it or whatever. But anyway, they said Terminator: What Women Want shot the heart out of the series and gave us a bunch of half-assed woke shit that they don't even bother trying to explain. Let me start with that one. No, they don't. There's nothing in this movie that's like that, and it's not a political movie in any way. And I've seen people complaining, and one of the complaints that's very specific is that the Rev 9, who's the bad guy Terminator in this, starts killing Border Patrol agents in one scene. True, but he's also a Terminator and he's a bad guy, so it's irrelevant to the fact that he's killing Border Patrol agents. And apparently it's not okay because the point that this person that I read this online, somebody was making was, well, the actor's Mexican and he's killing Border Patrol agents, so, well, could they shove that in your face any harder? Yeah, they could, because that's irrelevant. That's not even what's happening in the movie. That isn't the point. For one, the actor who plays the Rev 9, who by the way is excellent. One of my favorite villains of all time is Robert Patrick playing the T-1000 in Terminator 2, and that's not just because I love the movie. Robert Patrick as a T-1000 is just insanely good. It's just a villain, a dark character. And in Gabriel Luna, who plays the Rev 9 in this movie, he's not just as good, but he's pretty damn close. Has that the charm, can turn on the charm aspect when he's pretending to not be, of course, the Terminator, but also just brutally violent as the Terminator, and slays without consequence because he's a machine, and that's the point. So it isn't. And by the way, Gabriel Luna is an American guy, born in Texas. He's not. It's not. He's not a some. He's not a Mex. He's not even a Mexican. He's Hispanic. I don't know if his family's from Mexico or not. But that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It could have been anybody. Of course, the other big complaint about this movie is that it's too forced with women. Except apparently every idiot who has ever said that before has never seen any other James Cameron movie. I mean, Linda Hamilton playing Sarah Connor in Terminator 2 is like the most badass woman in film. The second most, well, it's arguable, some people will go either way with this, Ripley from Aliens, also a James Cameron movie. The guy loves strong badass women. He loves strong badass women so much that he made Terminator 2 with Linda Hamilton, and then he married her. And they were together for like a decade. So, clearly James Cameron just has that. That's what he likes. That's what he writes. Those are the kinds of movies that he makes. Can't really complain that this movie is all about women's empowerment when Terminator 2 was also. So that argument doesn't work for me, and it's stupid. And the first time somebody said that, I just couldn't believe it. It just doesn't make any sense. I saw a lot of people... This movie is bombing really hard, which is kind of unfortunate because it's better than probably people think looking at the trailer. Even when I saw the trailer for the first time... Now, I only watched the first teaser trailer for this movie and nothing else after that because, as it is, trailers are giving away too much of the movie now anyway. But the first time I saw the trailer, I was a little disappointed. The CGI looked really bad. It didn't look... It looked like maybe it was incomplete, possibly, or it was just going to be really low in graphics. So, and I'm not sure which is the case, because we got that trailer. It did have really low... It looked like PlayStation 2 graphics. It was pretty bad. But that's not what it looks like in the movie. So either one of two things happened. Either we had a trailer that was released that didn't have 100% completed graphics, which is entirely possible and happens pretty regularly. Or two, the filmmakers saw the complaints of how bad it looked as soon as they posted online, and they went back and they fixed it and they re-edited some of the shots that are a little bit faster than they were in that trailer, and it looks way better. In fact, thinking about the movie right now, I can't think of any specific time where the CGI just looked really bad. Everything was very good. It was and I feel like it holds up better than a lot of other movies that have these inflated budgets as well. This movie seems to have done it better, in my opinion. Another complaint about this movie. And this is an even stupider one, and I almost kind of touched on this already. Somebody said that even though Legion, the new company in this movie, has nothing to do with Skynet, they also have Terminators. Talk about lazy-ass writing, says this comment. Well, if you thought about it for 2 seconds, like a normal human being might do, I already touched on this. If Microsoft and Apple were coming up at the same time and they're developing similar products... We can agree on that Microsoft and Apple developed software and then their own machines, and then they did phones and everything else. Or if we compare Google and Apple and the phones and these devices right here, if Google had never existed, if there was some timeline where it was destroyed, does that mean Apple wasn't going to come out with an iPhone still? And it's still going to be a cell phone, right? So that argument is just plain stupid. Yeah. Other companies are also developing things, and they didn't develop Terminators. They developed their own cybernetic type robot. In this case, they had the Rev 9, the T-Series, the T-1000, the T-800, and there's other ones in the canon as well. That was Skynet. Apparently, we name and number them differently, and it's a completely different product. It's a higher end product. That argument is so dumb that it's not even worth touching on. Most of the reviews that I see are ones like this person who said Terminator Dark Fate is turd salad topped with shit dressing, which is just a really well thought out argument for a movie. It's stupid. The movie was good. It's fun. It's action-packed. It brings back Arnold. It brings back Linda Hamilton. And they both kick ass throughout this whole movie. Yes, like I said, it's very similar to Terminator 2, but why should that be a complaint? If you are a Terminator fan and you go see Terminator 3, Terminator Dark Fate, wouldn't you want it to pick up where the other one left off? Wouldn't you want it to have some of the similar elements because we're telling a continuation story? Because I know I did. I went into this movie with as low as expectations as you could possibly have, because Terminator 2 is right up here for me. Terminator 1 is it's up there, now that I've had a chance to watch it again, especially as an adult. It's a badass movie, and it's up there. Terminator 3, I don't even remember seeing. It could have been great for all I know, but I would say not. It must not. I don't remember it. Terminator Salvation and Terminator Genesis are atrocious. They could have been so much more, and they're not. And I think that Terminator Dark Fate is. I think that it really does kind of complete a story that maybe didn't need to be told again, because we had a complete story after Terminator 2. But if you want to pick it up and tell another part of the story, this did very well doing so. There are plenty of callbacks to the previous movies, especially to Terminator 2, which leads me to believe that director Tim Miller, who made the Deadpool movies, I would assume that he's a pretty big fan of Terminator as well, especially the Terminator 2, because some of the callbacks to the earlier films are a little bit more subtle, and some of them are funny as hell. So overall, I would say that you should definitely, if you are a Terminator fan and you go into this movie with a little bit of an open mind, and stop listening to the internet that's telling you that this movie is so woke and it's this social justice warrior film and that blah blah blah. It's the same thing that they did to the Ghostbusters remake that was made with all women. That movie got more vitriol and more ripped apart after the trailer than any movie I've ever seen in my life, except for maybe Cats. Don't even watch that trailer. But was Ghostbusters that bad? Yeah, it's pretty bad, but it wasn't the worst movie of all time or anything. The movie was destroyed before the film even came out. And Dark Fate had a little bit of a similar kind of thing. There's enough hatred and negativity about this movie before people even saw it. And I think people are still being negative without having seen it. And that's, that's ridiculous. If you just want to just tear apart a movie, then fine, I guess. But I don't think that this is the movie that's really worth kind of all the hate that it got. I would absolutely say check this out in theaters if you still can. I'm sure it'll be hitting Blu-ray and 4K and DVD within a couple of months, because that's just the time cycle of movies now. So, at the very least, if you're a Terminator fan, kind of why don't you check it out once it hits DVD in a few months, and I think that you'll probably enjoy it. Alright guys, thanks so much for listening to me ramble on about Terminator Dark Fate. I hope you have a chance to check it out. But you've probably just been watching this whole video waiting to find out when I was going to talk about the giveaway that I mentioned in the title. Well, we're going to do that right now. This is the first giveaway that I've done here through Buttered Popcorn. And as I mentioned, I have about 10,000 copies of Terminator 2. So we're going to do a giveaway for my all-time favorite movie. Pretty relevant here, I think. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. This is the Blu-ray and digital. There's no DVD with this. This is the release here. This is the version that came out last, I think about a year ago through... It was... I picked this. This one came from Walmart, obviously, with the tag, but you'll see that this is the kind that looks... it looks like like a VHS rental. I think that there was a ton of movies released like this. They're kind of neat, but if you don't own Terminator 2, at least you can have a chance to win it here. So what you have to do in order to win a copy of this movie, very simple. First of all, you have to be subscribed to the Buttered Popcorn channel, and I just want you to comment below your favorite scene or line or anything from any of the Terminator films, whether it's from Terminator 1, 2, or maybe one of the other ones is your favorite, or comment your favorite part of Dark Fate if you've already seen it. That will get you one entry. If you are subscribed and you comment below, that will get you one entry into the drawing for this. If you want to earn yourself some additional entries, go over right now. I'm going to put a link in the description below to my buddy Casey's T42 channel. He just launched this new series. It's covering the history of Terminator 2, promotional items, releases, all sorts of stuff. He's about 3 or 4 episodes into the series right now. I'm going to put a link to the channel. If you go over to that channel and you also subscribe to his channel T42, I will give you 5 total entries. So again, subscribe just to Buttered Popcorn and comment below. Get you 1 entry. Subscribe to Buttered Popcorn, comment below, and then also go over to T42 and subscribe to that channel, and I will confirm that you're subscribed to both of them. and you will get 5 entries to win this copy. And I will be pulling a winner on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving here in the U.S. So if you would like a chance to win this, do one or both of those subscriptions, and then keep an eye on your YouTube messages, your Google messages, because that's how I will be hitting up the winner in a couple weeks. Again, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook. It's facebook.com/butteredpopcorn, official Buttered Popcorn, facebook.com. And then also you can check out our website at buttered-popcorn.com. Tons of video reviews, 4K and Blu-ray reviews and all that stuff. So again, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time.